Sally, would you please?
You know as much about Felicia as I do.
Oh, I thought, okay, well then I will introduce her. So Felicia Houghland is my new friend.
We've had lunch together.
The second one this year.
She is, and I'm going to read your title here, the Family and Community Engagement Coordinator with WJCC Schools. She had found out I had school-age children, and the first thing she did was go like this when I sat down. She's a pleasure to talk to, and we look forward to hearing from you. So by all means, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. First, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come here and speak. So as Jason said, my title is Coordinator for Family and Community Engagement. What that means, it took me an entire year to learn how to define. So what I say now is I pretty much build capacity within the division and within the community for engagement to take place. So whether that means having professional development to provide teachers strategy to be more engaging with families, or having what we have now, parent academies, where parents can come and learn about how they can support learning at school. Anything that I can do, coming here today to talk to the Rotary Club about ways to engage with our schools, that's what I do. So I build capacity. That's the definition. My background, I come from, I was a school counselor prior to this position, and so this was kind of a natural kind of transition for me, because it's still about building relationships and that connection, and that's really important to me. So that was kind of flawless as far as when I'm coming in. Dr. Constantino came on board as superintendent for WJCC schools in 2011. When he came on board, the community and school leaders, everyone sat down and kind of had a, hash it out. What are the needs of this school division? How can we continue to be premier and continue to go upward? So they developed a strategic plan. I don't know if you all have seen it, but it's been in place now for, I think we're in the third year, almost fourth year of the strategic plan. So with that comes my position of Family and Community Engagement Coordinator. So what we're trying to do in the division is just be more purposeful in engaging families. So everything that we do, everybody says, oh, we're already engaged. So one of the things that I ask teachers is, how do you engage those individuals who are not engaged in the school? How do you increase the engagement among those individuals who are engaged? So how do we increase what we're doing and do it better? I am going to kind of pass out
Will there be a test at the end?
There will not be a test.
True or false?
So what's coming around is just kind of like, statistics talks about when you increase engagement, when you have everyone involved in the schools, student achievement goes up. It skyrockets. So the more involvement you have, the better the school division does. This talks about the elements of engagement. So at the top, it's like a scale that needs to be balanced. So those elements include being welcoming. So I don't know if any of you have been in our schools lately, but we have a buzzer system. That's not very welcoming. So one of the things that we ask the schools to do is to greet everyone that comes to the school. That's there for safety. We can't do anything about it. We're happy that it's there because it gives us some safeguards for our students. But at the same token, it's not very welcoming for Mark to walk up to our schools and have to ring a buzzer to come in. So we greet you at the buzzer. One of our goals is to say, hi, welcome to whatever school you're coming in. Please join us in the office. Come on in. So we want to have a welcoming environment. Capacity building. Going back to that, Sally and I were talking. One of the, I had a training with teachers once, and I asked them, what do you want parents to do? How do you want them to be involved in your schools? Hands shot up in the audience. The teachers could tell you a number of ways that they would like to see parents involved. Then my next question to them was, how do parents know how to do those things? How do we inform? How do we educate? How do we bring parents along to do what we want them to do? Some parents, they do it naturally. They don't need help. But we have some parents in our community. We have ESL parents. They may have come from a different country, and their education system is different than ours. So how do we teach them what we expect for them to do? and that's called building capacity. And that's one of the things that our teachers are developing strategies to be more effective at building the capacity of families so that they can be involved. Culture. We want to build a culture that is engaging for everyone and that everyone's needs are being met. 10 years ago in Williamsburg, we had a community of, very little diversity. And now we have a growing population. We have homelessness that's on the rise. I think WJCC clocked over 400 homeless or transitional families last year. So that's a growing population. We have a growing population of English as a second language speakers. So we have students coming here to our schools for the very first time and have never spoken English. They don't speak it in their homes, so they're learning how to speak it in school. So how do we as a community embrace all of that diversity and bring it into our school where we're working together? Effective communication. I think that's one of the hardest things in anything that anyone does. Any organization is going to be communication and doing it effectively. Everyone communicates, but how effective it is one thing. We're trying to have reciprocal two-way communication. We want feedback from families. We want feedback from the community. We want feedback from students. We want to know what it is, how we can do better. So effective communication is something that is just one of those key elements. And then building relationships, being purposeful and very intentional about the relationships that you build. Not, set a goal for, having teachers set a goal for the types of communications that they do with families. One of the things, my son is in the 3rd grade, and his teacher has reached out to me at least 4 times this year. So she set the tone for our partnership. She know what you do. Because if she does, that's cheating. But she didn't do, okay, it's fair enough. But it was not just for me. This is how she does, sure. This is her norm. Yeah. This is how she does things in her classroom. So she, invited me to attend back to school night, a personal invitation, a phone call. So then I felt like I was expected to be there. I felt that I had a role to be there. So that goes back to the building capacity. As a parent, back to school night, if I don't know the value of that back to school night for me or my child, I may not attend if I don't really know why I need to attend that. So that personal invitation is a way to say, hey, this is important. You're my partner. I need you. I can't do this without you. She sent an email to me as well. The email just said, we're having a great year. It explained to us what's going on in the classroom and what she needs from me. And then the next question was, what questions do you have? Is there anything that I can answer to make you be more supportive of what we're doing in the classroom? So that building relationships. And then at the bottom, I have involvement versus engagement. We have a lot of involvement. What we're trying to have is more engagement. That's not to say we don't have engagement. I don't want to make that, I don't want to miscommunicate that. But it's to say that we want to have shared responsibility. It's everyone's responsibility to make sure that the students in this community are educated. We want to be thoughtful in the relationships that we have. We don't want to just have relationships and just kind of conduct ourselves, in status quo, how things have been. We want to be very purposeful in saying, okay, what things can I do to build the relationship? What things can I do to make this a more meaningful relationship? Sustained versus discrete. Discrete, we have isolated things going on. We want to have sustainability. So what we do in 1st grade has some continuity to what's going on in 2nd grade academically. We want to have those same kinds of things for parents as far as sustainability. So what does it look like in 1st grade, and then how am I involved in, go back. Give another example. Elementary school, we have so many parents that are involved. They come, come ye, come off. They come. You get to middle school, parents start feeling my child is old enough to take care of himself. He's very responsible. So we start having, involvement dwindle down. By the time we get to high school, we have band parents, athletic booster parents. That's kind of it as far as the parent involvement. We want to make sure that parents are involved from kindergarten to 12th grade, because as a school division, they are our partners. Families are our partners, and we need to make sure that at every step we're partnering together for the education. And then collaborative and the personal accountability focused on learning outcomes. So really and truly, this all is kind of in a nutshell. We just want to make sure that we're all purposely looking at what is this student's achievement going to be? How are we going to make individualized learning for this student and make this student successful at his or her goals? So that's kind of what I do. Any questions so far? I'm not finished, but I go. Yes, sir.
Do you have any interface at all with private schools?
Very little. Yes. Okay. And then, well, we do have, and I guess I should say, oh, sorry.
Yes, I was wondering what your involvement is with families that can't speak English. And there are a growing number of them in Williamsburg.
And we actually have an ESL coordinator who is starting to target some of the families. So like for the students that are in the classrooms, she's having very specific events for those particular parents so that we are trying to provide interpreters. That's not an easy thing for us to do, so I don't want to say that we're doing that successfully just yet because we don't necessarily have interpreters for every language. And, you know, being a skilled interpreter is not easy. So we're pretty good with having a Spanish interpreter. Jorge is amazing. He has done some outreach for us if we're having events, and we would like to have that personal touch where we reach out. But the ESL coordinator is working really hard to do that, and she and I have worked together on a couple of projects to try to develop programs. We worked with Literacy for Life to have the HEAL program in the schools where it's like medical initiative. So we had that at Stonehouse. We're doing some things.
To the best of your knowledge, is homeschooling growing in the district or staying the same or declining?
I don't have numbers on that, but I could find out if that's something that
No,
Okay.
just wondered if you
But,
had.
you know, one of the things, and I will say this, as a school division, I think it's important for us to realize we're competing with all kinds of different programs. I mean, we have homeschooling, we don't really have charter schools in this area just yet, but they are popping up everywhere. We have online learning communities. There's so many different things. So to remain quality, as Jason said, it's important for us to have quality teachers in there teaching and to do these types of things as far as like engaging families and bringing everyone to be one community so that they recognize the value of the education here in WJCC. Oh, yes, sir.
Is any part of financial aid to the school system dependent upon attendance?
Yes. We do a count at the last Friday of every September, and that's the number that is used for our funding purposes.
How is it used?
Nothing.
Governor writes a check.
I'm sorry?
When the governor writes a check.
Yeah, that's from the state funds that we receive. It's based on the pupils that are in our classes.
The question was, so the money you get from the state, that the district gets from the state for the school system, does depend upon, one of the factors on the amount you get is based on attendance.
Enrollment.
Enrollment, not attendance. Enrollment, not attendance.
Enrollment, not attendance, correct. I'm sorry. Yes. So, another aspect, so I talked about a little bit about the family engagement. Another aspect of what I do is building community engagement. So we have so many wonderful community organizations and businesses that support and partner with our schools. So what we've done now is created a partnership agreement so that we can start measuring those objectives. So with the partnership agreement, you know, it's not an MOA, a memorandum of understanding. It's really just an opportunity for the two partners to sit down and say, what are we working toward? And then pick that document up 6 months down the line and say, how are we doing with this partnership? So it's really a document to develop a conversation or just to increase the amount of conversation and the discussion about what it is you're trying to work together to do. It gives you an opportunity to measure what you're doing a little better than we've done in the past. Yes.
So if this club wanted to engage with the school system, is that a conversation that would start with you?
It could, yes. And now, if you have a particular school, then it would start with me and then a representative from that school. Like if you had a school in mind. But yes, definitely. If you just had, for example, and I'm going to mess up this name, but please forgive me if anyone, the Seroptimus Club in Williamsburg.
That's right.
Thank you. They had a girls' leadership initiative that they wanted to do. They didn't have a particular school in mind, so I reached out to all 3 of the high schools because that was a grade level, and so we're partnering with War Hill to begin that initiative now. So, yes, definitely. Volunteer opportunities. You know, how can the community help our schools? We have a number of ways to volunteer. You can volunteer in a school. You can bring an idea that you have or a program that you have to one of our schools, and then we can kind of pilot that in one of the schools. You know, a little on a, I guess I'd say a lower scale, something that doesn't take much. You know, you can donate to the schools, but without writing a check. Did you know you could do that? Does anyone in here have a Target Red card?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if you have a Target Red card,
We won for Farm Fresh.
Farm Fresh too, you can associate those things to a particular school, and they will receive a percentage of whatever you spend in that store. I'm sorry.
Have you ever heard of Amazon Smile?
Yes, that's on my list as well. Amazon Smile. Now, not all of our PTA organizations have kind of signed up, but if you, Amazon Smile is if you shop online at Amazon, if you put in smile.amazon.com, if I'm doing that correctly, then you can actually select a charity, and you can select one of our schools. If the school is not currently listed as a to receive the donations there, you can actually put in an inquiry, and they will contact the school to make sure that that school would get signed up. So those are ways. You don't even have to write a check to support our schools.
Just shop.
Shop.
You can make a deposit. You
You can make a deposit, yes.
No withdrawals.
No withdrawals.
So
We're running out of time.
It's a diploma.
We are getting a little short, but if we had maybe one more question for Felicia. Okay, I have one.
Okay,
So how, SOLs,
yes.
do you consider those to be a hindrance or a help in regards to what you're trying to get done with engaging the parents? Because it seems like when they hit this grade, it's all about preparing for that test.
How do I see SOLs? SOLs is one of those things that we can't necessarily, the only thing we can do is advocate for assessments and alternative assessments. So we can't necessarily control what the state does. My personal belief is that if the teacher has strong instruction, SOL doesn't matter. Because if you're doing what you need to do in that classroom, you don't have to stress about the SOLs. You don't have to talk about it. I was very pleased to learn, again, going back to my son, his 3rd grade teacher, this is the year that SOLs begin. When we had back to school night, the first thing she said is that we don't talk about SOLs because the children will be prepared, because that's what we're doing in this classroom is preparing. We're going to teach them how to take the test. We're going to teach them how to bubble the circle. They will know what to do. When you talk about it in a negative way and don't celebrate it as something that this is just another test, then the stress comes. And so that's something that we're trying very hard to do, is to get teachers to reduce their stress rate about SOLs, because if they're doing what they need to be doing in the classroom, it is not going to be an issue, and then that increases performance typically because, you know, you lose a lot of the anxiety. So I don't know if that answers
No, that's a great answer. I like it. Well, Felicia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So it's the tradition of our club, in order to honor your visit with us, we do 2 things. First off, we do provide you a certificate that my good friend Mark says is suitable for framing.
Okay.
We're not going to buy the frame, but if you wanted to, on Amazon Smile, and then send the money back to the school district, that is for you.
Thank you.
And then also, and I'll give it to you, but we got to take a picture.
Oh.
And then also, we donate a book to the library, and this
Okay.
book will have your name in it to
Oh,
honor
great.
your visit
Okay,
here.
perfect. Yay.
So
My
you'll
son will
be
check that out.
remembered time immemorial.
Yes.
So let's take a picture real quick, if you don't mind.
One more.
All right, great. And then one last duty you have is to make a friend or a room full of enemies.
Okay.
Picking a winning ticket for our 50/50